Can I do this one yet? Yeah, do it at the end. Yeah, it's right about 6 o'clock. So I only have one phone with me today. I was doing light construction work at the new building all day, so wasn't at the office much and didn't have time to grab the other phone. So we're going to be doing everything off one phone off a stand. We'll see how it goes. I've got our 12-inch slicer here. We are going to slice some mozzarella cheese for slices. I've also got some low moisture content shredded cheese. I've got 2 nice hunks of ham. I've got hunks of pepperoni. We're going to slice all that up, and we're making one of my favorites, Stromboli. I've also got a really nice marinara sauce that we're going to use for dipping. And cooking is the longest part of this process, for sure. I don't like to bake. I'm not much of a baker. I don't make doughs. I don't really do any of that. So I just get something like this. This is pizza crust. This Pillsbury. It's easy to use, although one of them has a lot of holes in it. So we'll see how that one goes. It doesn't look particularly good. So first thing I'm going to do is just slice up all my meats and cheeses as I drink a beer. And we will get this going because oven's preheating to 425 degrees. Most of the things you'll see says around 375, maybe 400. They like to cook them just a little bit hotter, a little bit quicker than that. You do want to cook your stromboli until it's about 200 degrees internal temperature. You don't have to maybe get up quite that high, but you don't want to cook it where the internal of it isn't fully melted. You want that cheese lava hot when it comes out of the oven. So this is a block of mozzarella cheese. I don't think I've ever actually tried slicing this soft of cheese on this slicer before. So we could be in for a failure, which I'm sure would be somewhat interesting to you guys. I'll try and show you how it comes off. I think that's going to give you the best angle we can. So we are just going to try and get it pretty thin. Oh, that worked no problem whatsoever. Yeah, so it does a good job on soft cheese. Let's try and go thinner than that. Yup. I mean, not quite see-through, but that's pretty thin. Try one little tiny adjustment less. Oh, good Lord. That looks like the stuff Hannibal Lecter put over his face. So we will get it all done through there. It's not quite staying down all the way. But it's doing a good job. So if you've never used a slicer before, that blade is insanely sharp and rotates really, really fast. So we have to be pretty careful with our hands. We don't want them anywhere near that. I've also got a little bit of Swiss cheese that I'm going to add there to each of them. That's cheese is already pre-sliced though. So let's get some pepperoni in here. And we're going to keep it just about the same thickness for the pepperoni. I'll go just a tiny bit thicker. But it'll eat through this pepperoni no problem whatsoever in just seconds. And I've got more pepperoni that I'm going to need for this, but I'm going to slice it all up because I just like having pepperoni sitting around. Whoop, that one caught up there a little bit. And if I'm being perfectly honest and frank, Brutus likes it when there's a bunch of pepperoni in the house too. He usually gets a couple of slices of it. For the ham, I would love to say this is a ham that I cured and made, but it's not. I just went to my local deli and asked them for something a little bit thicker that I could use on this slicer. No problem. This is not. So there's a guard back here that, yeah, it wasn't up high enough. So when that's not up all the way, meat has a tendency to get shot around the front. The blade grabs it and pushes it around. So there's a guard back here. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second here after I get this ham sliced. No, go lay back down. We don't need you. He smells all this food and wants to be involved. So this is pretty good sized ham. It's restructured, obviously. But yep, you can hear him snuffling probably. Brutus, go lay back down. And he's licking where maybe something hit the ground. Yep. That dog never misses the opportunity to scrounge some human food. He might be part pig himself. Okay, so we are good. I'm gonna grab the, move. I'll grab the back of the, or show you the back of the slicer. See if you can see what I'm talking about with the guard. It's that thing right there. So that prevents, hopefully, meat from getting caught to the back of the slicer and getting tossed around. So yeah, just Cow Guy, we've done this now for a couple of weeks on Thursdays. We're going to be adding an extra one in. We're going to start doing live streams from Walton's, not from my house, on Mondays. Every other Monday, so every second Monday. And we're going to call those are going to be like the old processing streams we used to do. So I think the first thing people voted on an Instagram story, and we said we were going to do jerky. So we're going to be making 5-10 pounds of jerky. I don't have access to our huge commercial smoker like I used to, because we've sold that one as we're moving. So I'm going to be doing it all in the Walton's 12K, 12,000 square inch dehydrator. So just making a smaller batch. Brutus, want a piece of pepperoni? Come here. Come here. Here. Dum-dum. Here. Closer. This is as much as you get to see of them, guys. Wash those hands now. Because while he's a great dog, he's not exactly a clean freak. I've never had a dog that hates taking baths as much as him. So I've already laid out a few of my pizza doughs. And basically, we're just going to layer on, shingle on some ham, some pepperoni. We're going to use some of that cheese that we just found out the Walton's 12-inch slicer has no problem with. That was mozzarella. We'll get some of that on there. As you can see, it's really nice and thin. So that should melt beautifully. I also brought some shredded low moisture mozzarella, which is what I would always use for pizza, just in case that slicer didn't love working with a softer cheese like mozzarella. And I've got a few pieces of Swiss here that I'm going to throw in there as well. Now with the Stromboli, with the Stromboli there should be provolone cheese in here. There really should be. But I'm not a huge fan of provolone. I never have been. So I'm going to add a little bit of Swiss instead. Now I'm going to load this up with pepperoni because you saw how much of it I just sliced. And this is pepperoni that Allie and I made a couple of weeks ago. And it's delicious. As you could see how much Brutus enjoyed it. We're gonna roll these up and we're gonna pinch them off. They're gonna go in the oven, the marinara dipping sauce. We're gonna add just a little bit of oregano to the inside, but a very small amount. You can easily overdo, I can't get it to come out of the shaker at all. You can easily overdo oregano on the stromboli. You just want a small amount. It gives it a little bit of a, I don't know how to describe it other than like an earthy taste to it, but it really does make everything taste a good amount better. All right, stromboli, two different ways you can do it. You can put everything in one area and roll it up. That's more kind of, in my mind at least, like a pepperoni bread or a breading. This is supposed to be folded over in thirds. So we fold it over, push it down, take the top, and fold it back over. Now here is where I should be using an egg wash, but surprisingly, I don't have any eggs in this house. It's probably because I've been obsessed recently with egg bites. I've been making them like crazy. They're a super healthy, easy snack. And I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, come out here, eat 2 of them, and go right back to bed, no problem. We've got, ooh, stop it. Good Lord. My microwave is dissenting, doesn't want to be involved. I've got some butter in there that I melted with some minced garlic and parsley. So that's going to melt together. We're going to put that on the top instead of an egg wash. Egg wash is going to be a little bit better, to be honest, but it's not absolutely essential for it. And I'm going to get all 3 of these going. I've already done 1 on this pan. I've got the other pan back there. We'll do that next. Then I'll crack this 3rd one, put it on there. We'll be good to go. See how that's looking. Okay, it's mostly melted. We're not quite ready for it anyways. Here's the next one. As you can see what I was talking about, there are a bunch of holes in this, and I didn't do anything. I just took it out of there, rolled it out. Not even rolled it out, just unrolled it, and it had some holes in it. So we're gonna treat this one a little bit differently. We're gonna put less of pretty much everything, knowing that we're gonna end up with big bulbs of just bread on the outside. So out of the 3 I'm making, this one's probably going to be the worst. And in fact, it doesn't even get the nice sliced cheese. This is just getting my shredded mozzarella. Go lay down. You know you're going to get some of this. Stop drooling on the floors. We have a showing tomorrow. Kay doesn't understand. Here, go. For anyone who hasn't seen him before, that is my ridiculously large Mastiff. Favorite dog of all time, but oh, he is a pain. And right back. He ate that in no time and just decided to return to see if he can get any more. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're basically just folding it into thirds. If we had an egg wash, this is where we would use it, but this one's gonna be a nightmare. You can see, like it tore right through it. Now, I'm not much of a baker, but I can try to cover those holes with some of the stuff on the outside, but it's not gonna work. And I've tried this plenty of times before. It's just a pain in the butt. I don't understand people who like baking. I really don't get it. There, flip that one there. And for the first live stream, from here at least, we have Miller Lite instead of Dos Equis. 16 ounces, of course. And he's now over by his food bowl, expecting to be fed. Why don't you go back to sleep? You slept right up until this started, and then you had to get involved. All right, let's see if we can do this one a little bit better than on the last one, but ooh, that is sticky. So we're just trying to separate it. I'll pull it back to this side and just try and roll it out. But I guess that first one I got was the lucky one. That was the really, really good one. Because these other two, now granted, I didn't do that as smoothly as humanly possible, but it wasn't terrible, and I've still got holes in my dough. Let's get those out of the way so you guys can see. And again, I'm just basically shingling this out. This is a country cured ham, so it should give us a really nice taste for a stromboli. You don't want to use it too sweet of a ham for a stromboli. Some sort of just like more standard ham is a good idea. There was one at the deli that had cinnamon sugar something coating. And while it sounded awesome for just like regular, not the right thing for what we're trying to do here today. So we'll get that piece of Swiss in there, and we'll fill in what we don't have for mozzarella and sliced with just some shredded. And again, this is low moisture mozzarella. If you're making homemade pizzas, you should be familiar with this. It does it much better than just the regular mozzarella you get from the store. Usually it's made from like skim milk. We want our mozzarella for anything we're going to be doing, like pizza, like a stromboli. We want it made from whole milk. There we go. No. He's following my every move. So this is just deli style pepperoni that Allie and I made. You can use like the regular small little like cup pepperoni. It's just not as easy to use, and you have to buy a lot more of it. All right. So I'm gonna pull this up, get it over. Oops, spill a little bit of it out. That's okay. We'll just pull the cheese or the dough over. Now, if we had an egg wash, what we do here is baste everything with a little bit of an egg wash, brush it on there. I guess brush everything with an egg wash. It gives us a really nice golden brown. Butter will do a very similar thing, but it's not going to be quite as good. We will microwave that butter for my... This is rebelling against me today. So we're going to put some butter on there. We're going to get them in the oven. They're going to cook for somewhere around 20 minutes. During that 20 minutes, we can chat, or if nobody wants to talk, I will happily go fish. I've been catching absolute monsters on my pond the last couple of weeks. We're going to put just a little bit of red pepper flake onto this at the end. Not much, because it doesn't need much. Stay. There we go. All right, and into the oven, that's at 425. We're gonna let it sit in there for about 20 minutes. First time we'll check it is at 15. And take a look at chat. Oh, Alex here. Baking is not better than cooking. That's ridiculous. Just the Cow Guy says, my dogs sprint for the kitchen when they hear a Ziploc open. We keep the cheese in there. Yeah. Brutus is a big believer in the cheese tax. Anytime I open cheese, he wants at least part of it. So, what are you doing? Huh? Come here. You want some ham? You want some ham? Come here. Sit. Hey. No. You're sitting. Yeah, let's switch places so you can sit on the rock. He doesn't like sitting on the hardwood floors. Come here. They really can't see you there. Hold on. Okay. Paw. Gentle. Good boy. Paw. Gentle. Not good. That was bad. You snatched. Well, when you've got a 200-pound dog, you gotta try and make him behave, even if he doesn't want to. Trying to think of just what's been going on at Walton's recently. Allie and I spent most of the day at the new building. We were putting up signs for offices, for rooms. So we should be moving. Our department moves sometime next week. And then I think the final move day is sometime in early May. So we will have a grand opening sometime later than that. We'll have a bunch of social media content about the new facility. New facility is awesome. Offices, cubicles, everything looks awesome. But the biggest difference is going to be our shipping. Our shipping department is enormous now. It's already, I think, one of the more impressive things that you'll see from a small business like us. But we have taken it to the next level with this thing. It is huge. We're going to have all sorts of new technology built into it, making sure that we get your guys' orders out faster and even more correctly. Hopefully people aren't having a lot of problems with shipping, you getting the wrong items. We've done everything we can to prevent that, but obviously mistakes do happen in the new system. That should be even harder for us to do. So we think the move is going to be very good. We're very excited about it. And this summer, if you're anywhere in the Wichita area or the Kansas area, when we do our grand opening, we would be more than happy to take people on tours of the building, show you how everything works. Well, not everything, but show you how a lot of things work behind the scenes. Our new test kitchen and studio kitchen are awesome. We put a good amount of thought into how we wanted to design it. We're going to have an outdoor cooking area. Eventually, it might turn into something like an outdoor kitchen. And it's straight outside the studio doors, so that will be nice and easy for me. No more lugging, little smokers in and out to do things. I can just leave things right out on that patio. And most importantly, we're talking about putting in a putting green and a par 3, just one hole, par 3. But if you don't think I'm going to be there 24 hours a day when we first do that, you're dead wrong. I'm going to be hitting so many golf balls. Probably, unfortunately, also hitting Brett's building a time or two. But, I feel like if you put in a putting green and a chipping green and expect your building not to get hit, that's more on you than on me. Ugh. We've got, wow, just 5 minutes has elapsed. It felt like longer than that. I felt like I was talking for a really long time there. But in 15-ish minutes from now, we will have nice golden brown strombolis with a delicious homemade marinara sauce. I've done more than enough how to make sauce videos with Walton's, considering it has nothing to do with what we do. I just really, really like making it red sauce, and marinaras. I mean, obviously, it is a red sauce. It's just a little bit different than your regular spaghetti sauce, but it's awesome for dipping. I don't hate it on pasta at all, and it's really good, I think, at least on pizza. So learning how to make a good marinara sauce, if you can do that, you can do a lot of things with Italian cooking. Now, one of the interesting things, and I've talked about this a little bit recently, I've been reading an old Italian cookbook. I think, well, old. It's from the 70s. So, same decade I was born. So, obviously not old. But they talk about in there how they don't. Hold on, I'm going to let him out the back. Go. So they talk about in this cookbook how they don't saute garlic and onions in the same dish at all, ever, which is shocking to me because growing up cooking in, quote unquote, an Italian house, all of our sauces, all of our everything, first saute the garlic, then you saute the onions, and everything goes on from there. But I made my first red sauce about a month ago, 2 months ago maybe, with just garlic with no onions, and it was maybe the best one I've ever had. So, Just Cal Guy's got 90 acres of tomatoes. Oh, across the driveway. Okay. I'm sure I know this Just Cal Guy, but I can't think of it right now. Are you from California? Because if you are, there's a good chance I'm actually going to break one of my rules and go to California in November. I've got a buddy who knows a head chef at one of Trump's golf courses and can get us on there for free. So in November, early November, there's a good chance that I'm going to be in California playing on one of those amazing courses. So that should be interesting. That will be the only other time I've ever been in California was flying through on my way to a different vacation. Throw the book in the trash. Garlic and onions were made for each other. That's not accurate. That's just not accurate. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, unfortunately, Los Angeles is where I will be. It'll be whatever course that is in LA is where I'm gonna end up, which is fine. I'm sure I'll be shocked at the price of everything coming from Wichita, Kansas, but sorry, hold on a second. Yeah. Sorry, my neighbors are on my back deck petting my dog. They love him. But yeah, no, I'm sure I'll be shocked at the price of everything. But there'll be some really good food that I just can't get in Wichita. In California, LA, some really good seafood. All right. Gonna peek at it real quick. Yeah, and we're nowhere near done. So we've got some time. Ali, I don't think the tallow grill actually exists. Didn't we look it up and it's like it opened for a little bit and then closed down and it's not planning on opening again for, I don't know, a really long time? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I misspoke. It exists. I don't think it's open. For anyone who doesn't know, Ali is a enormous proponent of tallow for not only cooking, but also skincare. I can confirm that it does work for both of those. I made some fish a couple of weeks ago on one of these live streams. Yeah, on one of these live streams, I did some crappie with some chicken on the run seasoning, and I cooked it in beef tallow, and it was absolutely incredible. Really, really tasty. Yeah, it does make your skin soft. That's accurate. That's accurate. It's just a lot of work when I don't need to add any lotion. I'm soft enough. Ugh. You won't be able to hear that, but something just started sizzling in there, which tells me, probably one of the ones with holes in it broke on the bottom, and there's a bunch of cheese leaking out onto my pan, which is going to happen. If we really wanted to do this well, we would have made our own dough. But like I said, I'm not a baker, not good at it, and I don't particularly like working with dough. It's more of a pain in my mind than it's worth. So, I mean, it's mass-produced Pillsbury pizza crust. We can't expect, it to be perfect. It will be what it is. Just Cow Guy is trying to go find something for Allie. So, interesting. Yeah, but Allie, those aren't even real donuts. What you're making is a fake version of, it's a healthy donut. Nobody wants healthy when they're talking about donuts. It's just not the way it goes. So, is he ready to come back in, or my neighbor's still out there? Yeah. They just left, but they bring him hot dogs or some sort of treat all the time. It's ridiculous how much they love him. What do we think about the beard? I'm actually growing more and more accustomed to it. And I think I like it since I shaved my head the other day, and I was bored and had done a good amount of cardio, so I wasn't thinking completely straight, and decided that I would give myself a mini mohawk. So instead of just completely shaving my head, I left myself a little strip right down the center, and now I feel like I look like a white Mr. T. That's a pretty good look. What started out as a joke may end up becoming John's new hairstyle, a low hawk, for lack of a better term, because we'll never let it get too tall. But I like that, a low hawk. You want to come inside? Go. Good boy. All right, I've got to start getting all of that stuff into something. I will almost certainly vacuum seal all this sliced stuff later, but for right now, it's just going into Tupperware container. We'll sit it in there. The real annoying thing is once that comes back out, Chuck Liddell, thank you. That's what I thought. As soon as I was done with it, and I swear, Just Cow Guy, I did it 100% as a joke. But as soon as I did it, I was like, do I look like Chuck Liddell right now? And I have been thinking that every time I take my hat off. So I appreciate that. But once we take those out, once they're done, we're going to have to let them sit for a while first. We don't want to cut right into it right away because that cheese is going to we cut into it, it's going to go everywhere. So we're going to have to let it sit for a couple of minutes too, which I'm not going to be thrilled about. I'm not going to love that part. What? What are you doing? You looking around for more food? You have food over there. You have water over there. What he wants is to go drink from the pond. He just got treats from the neighbors, and usually around this time, I let him go down to the pond and drink, but I can't do it if I'm paying attention to other things. All right, so we're just starting to get golden brown. So we're going to give it about 3 more minutes. We're starting to see some golden brown on the outside of the bread, which tells us that we're getting really, really close. Where'd you get that cheese, John? Oh, Johnny and Danny. I don't like that. That's too close. That is way too close, Allie. Don't do that again. Although, I know. I've seen my eyes. I know how close it is. Ugh. For anybody who's watching, that's a Shane Gillis joke. Shane has family members with Down syndrome. They make this big joke about cheese sandwiches, and Allie is basically saying that I have Down syndrome, which she's my boss. So if anyone would know, it would be her. No, go lay down. No, I don't. Ugh. I've got to wipe his lips. I'll be right back. Oh. When he shakes, come here. Eat your bone. You have a bone. What are you doing? Come here. Stop being a baby. God. All right, eat your bone. Sorry about that. When he shakes, his slobber goes everywhere. I'm trying to sell this house. The number of touch-ups I've had to do on paint is unbelievable, just from his slobber. Yeah, he is the real star of this show. He's a cute, cute boy. In all honesty, my favorite dog I've ever had. If anyone's thinking about getting a Mastiff, I cannot recommend them highly enough. I probably will get a Bull Mastiff as my next one. They're a little bit friendlier. South African or South African Mastiffs or Boerboels. They were bred to guard farms in Africa. And he sees this house as his farm and is not okay, as Allie can attest to. He's not good with people coming onto our property. So I'll probably get a Bull Mastiff. They're a little bit goofier, a little bit more accepting of new people. But yeah, if you want a Mastiff, or if you want a dog, a Mastiff's a great way to go. What's going on in South Carolina? That is actually where all of my family has moved. They left New York, the Albany, Schenectady area, and all of them moved down to South Carolina. So you guys have got something going on there. My sister and brother-in-law did it first. I'll be right back. Yeah, we're gonna give it 1 more minute. So my sister and brother-in-law did it first. They loved it, absolutely went crazy for it. So everybody else jumped down there. Clemson, no, get, go. So yeah, they all love it. My brother-in-law is, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, a sommelier on some winery up there that just started growing their own grapes. He used to own a liquor store in upstate New York. He's an absolute wine snob. My favorite story about favorite story I can tell about Frank is I came back for some wedding or something. We were hanging out at his house, and he told me to go pick a bottle of wine and open it. Or he might have told me to go get a bottle of wine, but I opened it and then brought it to the table we were at. And he's like, oh, I guess we're drinking that tonight. It was like a Duck Pond or Duck something. It was like a $500 bottle of wine. He just laughed about it. Okay, we're going to temp this. We want to be somewhere in the 200-degree range. Just going right in the middle. And we're only at 175. So we're going to give it another 5 minutes. Patrick, who's our video editor, and I have been talking about for years, working on a chart that shows timelines of when different meats start to really accelerate in their cook. So for those of you that don't know, there's something called the stall factor. It usually comes in with sausage and with whole cuts of meat. Different meats have different temperatures at which they start expelling a lot of their moisture. For beef, it's really around, beef and pork, it's really around 130 degrees. It's just when their meat, whether it's ground or whole muscle, just starts going, take my moisture, and they start kicking it out. Well, the problem with that is the moisture starts migrating to the outside of whatever you're trying to cook and evaporates off, right? So you can envision it as thermal energy from whatever heat source is trying to get into the meat to cook it. And just like when you sweat, so when you sweat, what's cool, or why you sweat is to help cool you down. And the function of that is your body moves sweat or moisture to the outside of your skin. That skin is evaporated off, and that's a cooling effect. It's the same thing with meat. So you have the thermal processing energy of the heat source trying to get into the meat, and at the same time, you have the cooling effect of the moisture coming out of the meat trying to cool it. So it's this little dance. There's a couple of ways you can fight that. You can just wait it out. Waiting it out will just be a drier and longer cooking process. You can increase your temperature, which is something a lot of people do, but it's not necessarily the best way to go about it. Or you can increase the humidity in whatever cooking environment you're in. If you're in a commercial smoker, you just set your relative humidity high. Once the relative or the environment you're in has a lot of moisture in the air already, it's very difficult for any moisture to evaporate off a surface. So it's just like when it's like 85 degrees but super humid out, it feels like it's 200 degrees. It's the same thing. It's because none of your sweat can actually evaporate off your skin and cool you down. In an environment like this, in an oven, not much we can do. So we're gonna have to wait it out. 185 max for what? For Stromboli? I mean, we'll probably end up pulling it somewhere around there, but no, Stromboli should be cooked to somewhere just shy of 200. I take offense to that, to whoever Walton's Inc. is. Who are you? You don't know anywhere near as much about cooking Italian food as I do. It's this ridiculous Walton's Inc. Ugh, I don't like it. Also, these hats, these Walton's hats have come into stock. They are available on waltons.com. Or if you're purchasing something like a grinder or an electric stuffer, you can add one of these to your orders for free. The price will come off them. You don't need a coupon code. You don't need anything. We've set that up as a promotion. This is probably my favorite hat I've had at Walton's so far. The blue one that formed the Team Blue, Team Orange thing between Austin and I was a big deal. But I like the fit and the look of this hat a little bit better. What's it? Oh, you're saying Walton's is a Team Orange plant. What's going on, Sean? Nope. We are just waiting for my strombolis to finish cooking. They probably have another 3 or 4 minutes would be my guess to get it up to the temperature we want. I've got 3 of them in there. I've already told Allie that I'm going to bring in the leftovers so she can try some tomorrow morning. Breakfast stromboli is delicious. It's not like breakfast pizza where we make it with different ingredients. It's the exact same thing. We just eat it for breakfast. And then after this is done, I get to paint a few walls to touch up some of these drool marks. He doesn't feel bad. You can see it in his face. He doesn't care. And then clean the house because I've got a showing tomorrow at like 4:15, and then I have an open house on Sunday. So hopefully this house sells soon. I feel like I've been saying that forever. All right, let's temp it. Oh yeah. Now we're starting to look good. All right, so we are at, I'm gonna hold that. We went from what did I say, 160 something to 207. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. Or 200.7, sorry. In just a couple of minutes. So that thing that Patrick and I want to do, where we show the curvature of how fast temperature rises on things, I think is something that would have some value. How am I going to do this? Put these up here. All right. Look at those delicious strombolis. God, I love it. When I've told this story way too many times on the Meatgistics podcast, but place I was growing up, there was a lot of good, like little just eateries, and I moved away and hadn't been back for years. I moved back or went back to visit some family. I think it was for a wedding. I went to this place called Homestyle, which I hadn't been to since I was, in 5 years. I walked in, some girl who works behind the counter looked at me, she's like, "You used to come in here all the time." And I was like, "Yeah, strombolis is what I would always get." And then I went to this pizza place that I always go to, which is Scotty's, which if you are a pizza fan and you're anywhere near Schenectady, New York, go to Scotty's. It is, and order the gourmet or marinara pizza. It is the best pizza you ever have. I walked in there, the owner was behind the bar. He looked at me, pointed at me, he's like, "It's been a long," and then he said something, a word we won't say on here, time. And it was at that point that I realized why I weighed 240 pounds while I was living there. Because I kept eating out at Italian restaurants pretty much for lunch and dinner every day. So, make your own food at home. You'll be a lot healthier. All right, we're gonna try and get these off this pan. They don't want to come. So we're just gonna be careful. Try not to burn ourselves. And a lot of what this is, unfortunately, is that cheese that came through is cooked to the bottom of the pan. This one actually is not as bad as it probably looks. I'm just trying to get all the bread off of it. Okay. Move this right over. There's got to be an easier way to do this. There we go. That is super hot. That's 2. And here, 3. Oh, come away from the edge. Come on. Yeah, it's caught edge. Probably just broke the bottom of it. I definitely just broke the bottom of it. Okay. Hopefully, that looked as ridiculous as it felt to do. Get on there. And now, you get to eat the melted cheese on the pan. Oh yeah. Shut that off. Get that out of the way. And now the hard part. We've got to let this sit for at least a couple, maybe we don't. Maybe we take this one. I don't have another cutting board I can use right now. So I'll toss just a little bit. Pound of parsley on the top. Empty this. Okay, we'll eat this first one. Oh. Mostly because I don't feel like waiting. Let's try and get this down so you can get a good view of that. We've got gorgeous golden brown bread. We have perfect melty cheese on the inside. Ham, homemade deli style pepperoni. We've got some homemade marinara sauce. And, oh, this is gonna wanna fall apart. Better eat it quick. I mean, it's basically a pizza rolled up. But I don't like ham on my pizza. I will not eat a Stromboli without ham. And you can use ham that you just buy in the package from the store, but it's almost always super wet. And I like it really, really thinly cut, like super thin cut for Strombolis. So having some sort of slicer that you can use from your home makes it a lot easier. If I was a better partial Italian, I'd make my own dough, but I'm not a great Italian. And D Mike, what's going on, buddy? It's not that hard to make. These are actually really, really simple. Probably the hardest part is that learning to make a good marinara sauce will help you in every style of cooking that you want to master or achieve. Now, there is also a jarred marinara sauce, and I think it's either Rouse, R-A-U or R-A-O-L, something like that. That is pretty good, honestly. It's decent. But it's not that hard to make your own. I'm going to end up eating way too much of these. All right. For Austin and Allie, I'll save at least one of these and bring it into work tomorrow so you guys can try it. All right, it is Rouse. Who doesn't eat gluten? ND Mike, you don't eat gluten? Really? I don't know if I knew that. If I knew it, Mike, I forgot it. The funny thing is the first time I'd ever heard of celiacs was because of a beer called Firestone that was made specifically for people with celiac disease. And that was in like 2004, something like that. Now everybody's gluten sensitive. I think a lot of them are just not. Oh. I'm gonna have to do an hour and a half of cardio after I get this entire thing, but that's okay. It is well worth it for this deliciousness. Now, if we look at the other two, these are the ones that had some holes in the dough. You can see that it started breaking through at the top. This one cracked all the way down the middle. Some people will score their strombolis before they put them in the oven. I don't like doing that. I don't know why. Maybe I should not say I don't like doing it. I've never done it. But I don't really have anything against it, I guess. San Luis Obispo. Oh, yeah, that's where you're at in Cali. Hopefully, that's far enough away from the ocean that you don't need to be concerned about sharks. Just to let everybody know, I read an article today from a scientist talking about how they are starting to look back at the theory that a lot of the shark attacks are done by the same sharks. So it's the rogue theory that they talked about in Jaws that got poo-pooed and like pushed to the side. They are now thinking that it's some sharks are just more bold than others, and those are the ones that are creating most of the attacks. God, that's good. All right, I am gonna go start cleaning up. Thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you. First, we're gonna do Monday. Monday is gonna be from Walton's. It'll be on waltons.com/live. I think we're gonna be able to get on waltons.com/live as well. So we'll see you guys. Thanks.